Howdy. Finally got another sunny day this first Monday of March. And as I get ready to work on a couple of rifles again, I've been switching back and forth doing videos and work on Ken's NPXL 1100 trail and my variant 1760 Power Master 177. I've got the buttstock all sanded down to 400 grit, and I'm getting ready to grinding the butt plate tang down to its final dimensions so I can pencil that out on the buttstock and get that inlet and all that. I also have to take the temper out of the metal by heating it to red hot. Then you just let it set aside and cool down completely, and that softens thick band steel and stuff like that to where you can more easily shape it. And then once you've got the shape you want, finish ground and stuff like that, then you get it red hot, let it cool down to where it's blue, and immediately quench it in water or oil. Ferrous ammonium sulfate solution in some water might be interesting, where you get that brown and blue and purple motor oil and water sort of look. I might just use motor oil and to dip it in just to see if it'll do the same thing. I'm curious. So anyway, I'm working on those two, and I was reminded today, a little bit ago in fact, on one of the Facebook groups, that I didn't know when I named this series Airgun Shooter that there was a magazine in the United Kingdom by the same name. Now, I don't know which one of us used it first, and I sent him an email, but probably about a year ago now, explaining the situation. And then that got me in turn to thinking, well, you know what, I call it Airgun Shooter, and that's not politically correct today, and I really don't give a flying rat's patootie. But, that said, I'm thinking maybe changing the name to Airgun World, since we do more than just shoot them. As you see, I work on them and repair them and restore them and make them a little better one way or another. I like staining the stocks and bluing the metal most of all. That I've developed. I've got about 2/3 of a system developed that works well. Just another third can bite you in the butt. Anyway, I'm going to finish this rifle for my buddy and moderator, and then I'm going to get back to working on mine. I got enough work on my 3 or 4 rifles to keep me busy for a while, to get everything back in workable condition and looking good and working a little better, updating, upgrading, whatever you want to call it, to last me a while. But anyway, the name of the series is going to change, but the intent and content, whatever, will be the same. Excuse me, but I do want to get out and start hunting. I just need a vehicle. Mine finally the engine got old enough where it wouldn't pass the gas test of the E-check thing, which basically says the compression has gone south. So I need a vehicle, otherwise I can't get out to go hunting with my youngest son, who happens to want to learn to hunt. And, you know, it's what we fathers do, right? But anyhow, I thought something to the effect of Airgun World would be more descriptive of what I'm actually doing here. That would encompass everything you can do with air rifles, including collecting them, working on them, restoring them, modifying them, target shooting, bench rest shooting, field target trophy, besides small game hunting and stuff like that. And like Minnesota, the one fellow from there also happened to know that there's going to be big changes coming in the Ohio hunting laws in regard to our air rifles for 2018, supposedly. And I did send an 18-page report last March, and it was March 4th this year before I remembered that I had rewritten it and forgotten to send it in. My bad, maybe I could still do it anyway. Might have to try it. But yeah, send it to our regional office, which for me is Akron, Northeast Ohio. So, I'm thinking it's going to be Airgun World from now on. So, I'll have to change my intros and outros and everything to reflect that. But I guess it does sound a little less threatening to left-wingers. It kind of reminds me of Jan Michael Vincent's old movie Tribes. You know, where he winds up as a baby blue Marine because he didn't make the grade. But he's arguing with with the drill instructor that he's forcing them to accept his ideals while refusing to listen to theirs. Well, there's a point to be made there. He made it in the wrong place, mind you, but his intent was pure and understandable. And this is the problem we have with these left-wing snowflakes that don't know doodly squat and try to act like they're the biggest pro in the world. And they're never going to admit they don't know what they're talking about, because then that would disprove all their theories and points and stuff like that. So, long story short, something like Airgun World sounds a little less threatening. So I'm going to try something like that. Yeah, Airgun World, Airgun Planet, Airguns Afield. Wouldn't be as descriptive. Oh, I do have a group, Northern Ohio Airgunners. I changed to Airgun Sports Afield, and I'm not able to get out in the fields yet because I'm partly handicapped, and I have to finish the Pimp My Walker project too. By the way, that's coming. A lot of stuff coming this year. I gotta wrap up. So I get my camera out in the field. And it's got a handle on it, right under the upper base, and a hook on the bottom. I can hook like a 3-pound ankle weight to, so I can use the thing with my camera mounted on top of it here as a steady cam in the field. So we'll see how that works. I might have my son carry it as a steady cam because I have to use the walker like this to, physically move and walk out of the fields because I'm leaning on the walker to take the pressure off my back and my right hip, which is getting worse and the left one's replaced. We will get out there and show you handicapped folks some more stuff, though. I've got other things in mind. And I'll be changing the scabbard on the walker that you put the monopod leg trigger stick in, because you see this 4-footed thing on the bottom of my cane here? This will fit the bottom of the trigger stick too. So, and I'm going to get one of these to put on the trigger stick, which just has that little pogo stick thing on the end, like the typical cane. But with this 4-footed thing on there, it stands up here. Let's set it up here. Maybe you can see it better. See? That will make the monopod leg trigger stick way steadier when you're like this. I can't wait to get to the drug mart and other places that have a handicap needs aisle have stuff like this. You can see that's got, it's a heavier kind of rubber made by Carex, C-A-R-E-X. Real nice water shedding feet on there too. That's a bonus. But you set it up like that, it'll be a lot steadier when you're trying to side to side, that is, when you're trying to take aim like front, back, side to side. 4 feet, front, back, side to side. Trigger stick going to get crunked. So hopefully that'll improve that, especially when you're up in a tree stand. You could set that like that, have your rifle like this, and drinking a hot tea or a hot cup of coffee out of your thermos and stuff like that. And so that's, I'll have to modify the scabbard and the trigger stick, and I'll show you that once I get it. Which means I'm going to have to put screw some kind of plate under the scabbard for this to sit on like that. When you cut a slot in the scabbard so you can push it through like that. Like that one trick holster that guy had on that one episode of Bonanza where he could pull the gun straight through the front of the holster. The Kempson special or some name like that. It has a basis in fact. I don't remember the name because I actually did find it once. But I'm going to follow that through for modifying the scabbard, and I'll show you that. And I got to get wheels for the back legs and a cargo net that would fit the back of a probe to fold over and use some real long rawhide laces cut in pieces about yay big to tie it into a bag shape to Velcro across the front of the walker there. And the battery went dead in the camera. Sorry about that. Hit a glitch. So anyway, we'll use the rawhide laces, cut in short pieces, tie some kind of fancy knots in with some fringes hanging out, and then to Velcro it to the front cross brace on that walker. With these, I try to use these in those frozen, those gel bag things you freeze when you're like when you're buying yeast to homebrew beer with or wine or something, and in hot weather they put one or two of them ice packs in a bubble wrap bag and all that to keep it cool so it doesn't get killed by the heat. I was trying to use these Velcro belts here to strap them around my fermenters, and it wouldn't hold. Like you can't get them tight enough. I had to come up with some other way to do that simply. But anywho, I can use these Velcro strap thingies here to strap that bag onto the front cross brace there. So when I'm like hunting small game like pheasants, grouse, quail, rabbits, squirrels, stuff like that, I can just toss them in the bag. So when the parasites, ticks, chiggers, stuff like that, fleas, realize that their host is now dead, they won't be jumping off of them into my backpack or down my pants or getting on me basically. They'll be in that bag where they'll just get on the ground and that'll be it. So that's what I want to do with that. I finally found these digging for something else. Isn't that typical? Might not find what you're looking for. I couldn't find that spring, but I spring cleaned this whole man cave in sections right down to the floor, vacuumed and swept and, like that, the dust bunnies and stuff like that. And I found other things like, okay, I'm starting to slowly, bit by bit, put these things where I can find them because I know what I wanted to do with them versus what I want to do now. Okay. So, anyway, while I was waiting for the battery to charge, I did a little research this time, which I didn't do with when I came up with Airgun shooter. I did come up with that on my own. I wasn't influenced by anything but a love of the hobby. Okay. So, this is what I found, folks. Airgun, usually before, but in one case after. So you got Airgun shooter, world, planet, universe. Those are all taken between here in the UK, typically the UK. Now I know why there's so many Kogers over there. I'm Kogar, but it was originally Koger, K-O-G-E-R with Johann Peter, like I showed you before. Anyway, Airgun shooter, world, planet, and universe are taken by magazines typically, and there's a web page or two, and one of them is in a forum. So, I searched for, I came up with and searched for and found it not taken is Airgun fan. Enthusiast is taken. So, can't use that one to the boy, but there's the mythesaurus.com, I think they call it. I must have forgot to save that because I stumbled onto it again and I saved it this time. My Airgun research stuff folder, you know, inside the browser with Win10. So I looked up all permutations of the word enthusiast. Fan was one of them. Airgun fan. Well, it's shorter, takes up less memory. And it's basically descriptive of the world of air guns, which I intended, not like Air Guns Earth or this air gun. Oh, well, hey, dudes, there's a good one. This Air Gun Earth, or these Air Guns Earth. You know, This Island Earth, the old 50s movie. I think it was one where you first meet Robbie the Robot. Maybe I'm mistaken. Or maybe that was Forbidden Planet. Shoot. This Island Earth. Might have been This Island Earth. I can't remember now, to be honest. But This Airgun Earth. If it's long in the tooth, we'll know where that title came from. So there's a hint. But I'm going to use Airgun fan. I did, however, have to change the intro and outros. I got to change all those now because I had different ones for depending on which air gun I'm working on or hunting with or everything. So that the intro you see would be some indication of which one you're going to be seeing, you know. So now I got to save all those. My memory stick's just about full. But I'll tell you what, for $29.97 at Walmart, SanDisk 128 gigabyte memory stick, little black one with a little red square button that slides the thing out and you poke it in the USB 2 port. It's got its own software protection in there, where somebody, like with the old memory sticks, or the old 2 terabyte external drive up there, could go right in there and erase all your files. So I had to go back on YouTube and save my earlier videos again. He stole the drivers, and Western Digital will not give me another copy of the drivers, which I didn't save to a separate disk and leave on the hard drive. That's a cheapskate, low-rent thing to do to make you buy another one. So Western Digital's just in it for the money if that's the way they're going to treat me. Note to self. And I guess that's about it. So Airgun Shooter will now officially be Airgun Fan. And good Lord willing, the creeks don't rise. We'll see you again one way or another.